one by one I will try to explain it. Okay. So we'll see that one. Okay. Next, first, peer-to-peer communication. What is this peer-to-peer? System to system communication. Like if you have a guys, my voice is clear.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. Okay. So peer-to-peer means, for example, two PCs are there, two or more PCs. But if you are making communication between one PC to another PC, like I send a ping, it will respond a ping information. So like a communication between two or more PCs is usually called as like at a time two PCs can communicate, right? At a time multiple PCs cannot able to communicate, like PCA to PCB one time, PCB to PCC one time, like that. So like one instant means in a particular time, in a particular period of time. Okay. So if you have a multiple PCs also, at a time we communicate to and fro communication from PC to PC is a one time only, like this PC to this PC, for example PCA, PCB, PCC. Okay. So one time in the sense only. Okay. Sometimes one to one, one to one, one to one parallelly, like A is communicating to B, A is communicating to C parallelly also, usually possible. Okay. Here it is, but it is a one to one type only. Okay. So what is this? It's a peer to peer means a system is communicating to another system. Okay. Sharing information, communicating means sharing information. So that is called a peer to peer. Here we have to say, like for example, I have a shared folder. For example, share one is there. This piece, this contains some data. The shared folder contains some data. I need a data, so PCB need a data, so it is accessing this data through network. Okay. So this is called a peer to peer. So now the PCA giving data, PCB taking the data, right? So accessing the data, so taking data means accessing the data. PCA sharing the data, PCB accessing the data. So in this particular instant, PCA act like a server and PCB act like a client. Okay. Next, for example, I have a printer. I have a printer. This printer is connected to PCC. Printer is connected to PCC, local printer. And I shared this printer. I shared this printer. PCA is accessing the printer. PCA accessing the printer through network, shared printer. So PCC sharing the printer, PCA accessing the printer. In this instant, PCA is become accessing printer. So here we can say it is this act like a server, this act like a client. Okay, this act like a client. What is this? Act like a server. In a particular instant only, a PC become a server, act like a server, and other PC act like a client, like a provider and accessing point. But no permanent server type, no permanent client type is not there. So basically, it is a PC to PC communication only. Okay. Normally, a lot of people think peer to peer means only two PCs. It's not like that. So any two PCs at a time, at a particular time. So one act like a server, another act like a client in a particular instant, means in that particular part time only. In another time, maybe in another time, it may be act like a one act like a server, another act like a client, another act like it interchangeable also in a different situations. Okay. For example, this is sharing a folder. PCA is accessing the shared folder from here. So then it is become a server and a client. But there is no permanent or dedicated client, server and client. Okay, there is no permanent server or a permanent client is not there. Okay, so depends upon the situation. It act like a server and client. This is not belongs to any service roles or a client roles kind of stuff. It's a simple peer to peer. So compulsory guys, you have to search what is peer to peer. In networking also I given some statement. I don't know whether you searched or not. Sometimes already I told in interview they'll go for a very basic statements only. So please go to the basic things. Okay. Also, what is modem? Okay, already I given the statement. Modulator and demodulator. What is modem? What is router? What is switch? What is broadband? What is baseband? Type of basebands, type of broadbands. What is 100 base 2? What is 100 base 2? Sorry, 100 base T or E or a 2 or anything. What is 100 base means actually? Whatever it is, we'll see that one. T means. But what is this 100 base? 100 base means 100 Mbps. 10 base means 10 Mbps. Okay. Mm, people. 100 base like that. Lot of statement network basic things are there. Basic means like regularly what connections are a leisure lines. What is leisure line already I given. So go through once our first notepad files, one or two notepad. So I didn't remember which notepad file I given first day or second day, not the first day, second day, third day. Okay, so go through once, find out the statements, find the differences. You have to do, guys, everything. I'm telling a lot of things, but still you have to search few things. Okay, peer to peer. Next, so whatever I given, just the small things also, the small every small details also is very important in interviews. Okay, so one day, one batch I given lot of things in a just for fun also. I tell 32-bit, 64-bit boot processing and all kind of stuff. It is very useful used in the interview that time. One batch completely they ask very basics, very basics. Okay, luckily first 3 4 people remember all the statements, so they given answers, so they share to others, so people will covered. So that's good thing. Okay, so first is peer to peer. Next is server client model. What is this server and client model? Okay, what is a server and client model? Of course, here we say it is a server and it is a client in a one single instant only. But if in case, if you say server and client model, so this is a server and this is a client. But what kind of server it is? When it is comes under comes server means it's just a server, or what type of server it is? It is a big question mark is there. What kind of server it is? A server can be anything. Okay, so web server, maybe a file server, maybe it is very small letters. A server can be a web server or a file server. Okay, maybe remote desktop server. So there are a lot of servers are there, right? VPN server, for example, VPN server. Okay, any print server,
Proxy server,
proxy server. Very good. Proxy server.
database,
Very good. Database server. um, DB server I put a easy. So DB server like a Oracle database server, very good. So database server. Mail server like SMTP server, mail servers. Print server, mail server. Okay, storage means file server only. A lot of servers I have I forget. WSUS server means update server. SUSW Microsoft, it is related. Microsoft Windows Server Update Service. Okay, WSUS server. WDS servers means deployment server. Deployment server. DHCP server, we forget. DHCP server. DNS server. Okay, so a server can be any server. If you say it's a server, it meaning is nothing. If you say it's a server, it's a server, then it's a nothing. It's a server, that's it. So if you say it is a server, means either by hardware wise or a operating system wise, it called as a server, that's it. So it's not a specific server, no use of that server. If a server is a web server, means web services. File server means you can store the files or you can access the files. VPN server, like we can connect a remote corporate network using a VPN server. Okay, print server, so to manage the printers, and we can access the printers using through print server. Proxy server. Okay, so proxy server can limit the number of connections from outside to inside. So through proxy server we can access internet. Okay, proxy server, through proxy server we can access the internet in a secure channel, like that. Okay, DB server, which maintains a database like a Oracle SQL, MySql, or my MS SQL, like a Microsoft SQL servers are there to store the database or access the database. Mail server, like a SMTP, POP3, IMAP servers, like we can send a mail and we can receive a mail using a mail servers, like a Exchange. Okay, Microsoft Exchange servers are mail servers. Another one is mail servers comes under. Okay, different mail like Zimbra, Squirrel Mail, Gmail. These are all mail servers only. We are using Gmail, but somewhere it is a Google maintaining mail server, right? So wsus server, update server. I'm updating my client PC through internet, right? But in organizations, we can't update everyone. So what we do, we download updates into the update server, and update server update the all the client PCs. Okay. WDS server, deployment server, you are installing operating system on yourself, right? But in a corporate networks, so what they use in enterprises, they use a one WDS server. It contains all operating systems inside only. Which operating system I want to install in my PC, I will install from through network only. I can install operating system through network only. So WDS server. DHCP server, we are getting IP address from your router in generally, but in organizations we can maintain with we will install a server, and we'll give IP address to our clients. DNS server, so we are accessing systems in the network and outside of the network using a IP addresses only, right? But we can't remember all the IP addresses in a public wise. So better to access with the names like a PC1, PC2, Google.com, Facebook.com, like that. So DNS server is will give name to IP address thing. Like if you give name, you will get IP address. Okay, like that. So like that, a lot of different servers are there. These are some example servers. Okay, so I told like server. So different kind of servers are there. Okay, like this. What makes this server, like if you make this one as a web server and client is become a, what is it, it's a client. Okay, so web server, this is a web server provide a web pages, client access web pages. File server store files, and it will accept the files, like a upload and download of the files, like we can put the files inside and we can access the files from there also. That's the file server. Okay, like a print server, it will give you a print connection. Like server is a server and client is client always. Okay, so for example, this is a web server. Only one will take. This is a web server. It provide a web pages, right? It stores the web pages when you accessing. So like there is a one server and we have a lot of clients. All these clients will send a request to give me a web page, and this server will send a response to the clients, take this web page, like this. Actually, I have to put a 2 arrows for each communication, but space is become more clumsy like this. Okay, server is always a server, and client is always a client. We will access the information from server. Client is access the information from server. Next, again, what makes server as a server? Okay, so in a just a server. So here two options are there. So first, initially, like hardware, server hardware is there. For every server, the server hardware is a different, like, okay, compared to our regular desktop hardware. Okay, and different type of hardware servers are there. Hardware server or server hardware. Server hardware means hardware of the server. Okay, hardware servers means hardware wise how to define a server. So there is a two things are there actually. Next, operating system wise. Okay, OS wise, hardware wise. Okay, servers are two things are there. Actually, just before I told one thing, like a based on the service only we have to tell that is my server. For example, my router act like a dhcp server, my router act like a dns server also, and also it is router, modem, and other things also there. So it is a hardware part. It contains some firmware. So then we are getting DHCP and DNS services from my router. It is okay. So just an example I'm telling. So I can call my router as a DHCP server or a DNS server also. But I'm not telling you about hardware and operating system. I'm telling you about purely service base. So just before we discuss about service base servers, okay. But that time I told one point, that is you call something as a server. So why you calling that one as a server? That's it. Which type of server it is, we'll see that one later. But why you call something as a server? So one is hardware wise, you may tell this is a server, or operating system wise, you can call that one as a server. One more is there, application wise. Application wise, hosted application wise also, you can call something as a server. Okay. Okay. So we can call something as a server based on hardware or operating system and application wise also can call this one as a server. Hardware, operating system, application wise also we can check. So we'll see the hardware later. So I'll show operating system wise what are the server operating systems are there. Windows, starting with Windows NT, Windows NT server. So every time you have to put a server for this one. Okay, so what I do, I will put a server in this side. So I can, okay, Windows server. First starting Windows servers in NT 2000, 2003, and 2008, 2008 R2, 2012, 2012 R2. What is R2? Release 2. Release 2. Second time it is released with the certain extra features. That's it. 2016, 2019. In 2016, actually they didn't release any release 2 part, but what they done in 2016, they released a cumulative updates. Okay, cumulative updates. Okay, so again, certain terminologies you should get it. What is update? What is upgrade? What is update? What is upgrade? What is release? Okay, like R2 type release, like a release 1, release 2, like that release R2 type. So example is R2. This CU means Qme. Okay, okay, I have to check the spelling. Normal only I will get a dot and I will cumulative cumulative update. This is a cumulative update. Okay, what is this cumulative update? So you have to search what is this. Okay, so 2016 released a lot of cumulative updates. The original part is has some flaws inside, so they release cumulative 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 up to 10 or 11 it is released. I downloaded two type of cumulative updates for other things. Okay, so what is update, what is upgrade, what is release, what is a cumulative updates. You know, our Windows 10 is keep on updating for new versions. If you observe, if you are observe your Windows 10 from last at least from last 2 to 3 years, okay, every year there is a huge change, like a complete update is there for Windows 10. Okay, why that much of complete update is occurring? That is we call it as a cumulative. So every time new build version is releasing. OS build. What is OS build? Guys, these are basic terminologies we should find out. Okay, so 2019. Okay, so these are the Windows from Windows. What are the different servers are released? Of course, Linux. Also, there are different distributions of Linux are there. I will give some example server related one. Red Hat. Okay, so this Red Hat also called as RHEL. Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Okay, latest version is of course 8.2 or 8.3 is there. 9 is also released. So this is whatever the version. So it's a server only. So different servers are there. So maybe currently 8 is there. I think we have to go to net. So 8 or 9 is released already. 7, 8, 9. So you can use 6, 7, 7.2, 7.8, 7.9 like that up to 8. Of course, not only Red Hat, Oracle is also launched. Now Red Hat is in Oracle only. Oracle, Oracle Enterprise Linux. Okay, we are using CentOS, so we should not forget it. CentOS. These are EL versions only, so don't worry about these versions. EL versions, Enterprise Linux versions. These are all Enterprise Linuxes only. Okay, Ubuntu server is also there. Ubuntu server is also there. Okay, Oracle Enterprise Linux. CentOS is CentOS only. Okay, CentOS. Okay, like that. So many Linux servers are there. OS wise servers. Unix. Okay, Unix based servers also available. I will give you one or two examples. Solaries. Actually, Solaris 11 is the latest version. Solaris 10 is a good one. So 11. So just for example, I'm telling. HP UX, HP UX, like that. IBM AIX, like this. This is also server-based operating systems only. Okay. Uh, what to tell? There are a lot of things are there. Citrix, IBM, IBM its own operating system, JetBoy OS. Lot of operating systems are there. So you can do it. Next, application-based operating system. application based operating system. Like if you install an application automatically, sorry, application based servers. If you install an application, then automatically it become a server. So that is your Oracle DB server. So lot of versions are there. For example, 11G. So there are a lot of versions. I'm going with small parts like 11G, 12C, 18C, 19C, like this. Maybe 20 also released. Okay. So Oracle, see Microsoft, MS, SQL Server, okay, MySQL, MySQL, MariaDB. MariaDB is also called as MySQL nowadays. MySQL, Exchange, mail server like a Exchange. Okay, Exchange mail server. Okay, earlier it is IBM, now it is HCL. Okay, okay, that is called Domino server. Okay, Domino server, Lotus node. By accept, Lotus node is a client. Lotus node is a client. Domino server is a server, application based server. You know, first when I working in 70s Hyderabad, that time it is Vedic Soft only. Vedic Soft Hyderabad. Uh, they have a HCL syllabus. HCL syllabus is there. So HCL training also we are giving. Like we are giving for a Cognizant. Same thing we do with the HCL also. For HCL you don't need to pay anything. Okay, but communication must be top level. Communication must be top level. It's a free training. Salary is little bit less, but compared to HCL charging, HCL Academy charging, so we'll give very less prices on it. Okay. So if you need any updates and all, so guys, so I will tell enough for time, not in a record. Okay. So HCL also so a lot of jobs in HCL, network support and networking related projects only, network based companies, because HCL is a very big organization, mainly in a networking related, not in a IT. IT is there, but means development is there. Networking related, HCL is one of the major partner for lot of companies in both India and outside of India also. Okay, usually like outside of India. Okay, so so HCL. So earlier it is IBM product. Now HCL taken. That time you have to teach Lotus node. How to teach Lotus node without server? We can't teach the client, right? So I have to do it. So I installed this Domino server in Windows 7. I installed Domino server in Windows 7. Windows 7 is not a server, right? So, but I install in a normal PC Domino server, and Lotus Note in another Windows 7. Two laptops we taken. One laptop having a Domino server, and another laptop having a Lotus Note. So we are sending a mail from Lotus Note to Domino server to different user, like user 1, user 2. It means two Lotus node, one Domino server for testing. So we install in normally. So the application base also you can become a server. Just for example, I given these three are database related one. These three are database related one. These two are mail communication related mail servers. Mail servers only. Okay, based on hosted application. So I'm telling like Zimbra. Zimbra is one of the mail server. Okay, Squirrel Mail. Like there are a lot of mail applications also available. Exam servers are there. So lot of exam servers, exam based servers like a model. Model is one of the example like a exam servers. Pearson View, Pearson View. We can't do it, but Pearson View people will do it. Pearson View, Promotic. Pre-SN view, Promotic. These are exams. So now we are doing online exams, right? So all these online exams are exam server, exam client wise. It is there. So server is there, and client application is also there. Like this is a server application. This is a client application. Okay, this is a server, and what is the client application for our Oracle DB? SQL Plus. SQL Plus or SQL Developer. These are client applications. Okay, like that. Application based. Okay, so different up there. Just for
Hello,
example.
sir.
Yeah, tell me.
There are any server for Meet and Zoom, Google Meet and Zoom,
Server for
for meeting application? Which servers are there? Means
meeting like this.
server for meeting application like Zoom, Google Duos.
Yeah, that you said no
Yes,
answer already. You
yes.
said Zoom is an
There
application.
are any servers?
Yeah, it is there. Microsoft Biztalk. Biztalk. Now Biztalk is one of the thing. LYNC. Now it is converted into Sky for Business. Now it is called as a Sky for Business. LYNC is there earlier. Now it is called as a Sky for Business. Biztalk servers, Zoom kind of stuff, and lot of it is there. I think. At least I will show you what is Biztalk server. I got doubt. I never use Biztalk server. Communication approach facility meaningful life. Okay, they're giving some. That is a big talk. No. Biztalk server. Biztalk. This is Biztalk. Okay, Biztalk Microsoft server 2020. So inter-organization middleware system automated business process through use of adapter which tolerate communicate with the different software system used in enterprise. This is one thing. SharePoint server. Oh, we forget this one. SharePoint server. SharePoint for server is also sharing information. Meeting information is there or not? I don't know because I use a very old SharePoint only. SharePoint server. So we'll go to. So very good question. Mm, Meeting softwares like Zoom. You said no? So there is showing like it's a air meet, but you have to check it. It is software means we have to download, as you said, like Zoom is like we are not maintaining application, server application. We are not maintaining. It is maintaining in a cloud or online only. It is maintaining, right? But I got your question. That is, we can install an application in one system, and we can start doing a meeting with the using through that applications. Like fully, we are a hand over that. It will be there. Maybe this is one of the things. Zoho. Uh, we have to search really. So, and even I never get into that. This is again controlled by Microsoft. Microsoft Teams also there. Team meeting, Microsoft Team. But personally, we can we do or not? We don't know. Like Sky for Business. Sky for Business. Personally, we can maintain. Sky for Business. We can maintain. Microsoft Team. We can maintain. Like we can install application server and we can do it. Okay. Online, offline, both are there. Like Biztalk servers, Sky for Business, SharePoint, and this one. But still I have to search really. This is very good question. Video conferencing tools, AirMeet. This is I never seen this AirMeet. Like Redmin is a one of the server. Redmin. Okay. Redmin. Okay. Now that the people change the name, easy Redmin. Redmin is also is a kind of server, right? I can share my screen. Redmin using a I can share my screen like any desk and TeamViewer type only, but it is a remote access type. For example, if I install a Redmin in my PC, you can access from in a intranet and internet also. Both wise we can able to use it, but generally intranet wise also we can use sharing meeting using a Redmin. Team viewer is also there. Team viewer, Redmin, uh, RealVNC, VNC, whatever it is, VNC type. VNC Redmin usually like a screen sharing type within the LAN network. Usually within the LAN network. Okay. TeamViewer in the LAN and as well as WAN. Also, we can share the things. We can chat. We can do it. When I started my career, so the projector is not there. So what that time we started using Redmin. So the limited connections are there for Redmin. So we use a crack to open up for everyone. Okay, so that is a Redmin. Like we install in a main PC and we'll give access to everyone. Like how you accessing my screen. That is also Redmin. TeamViewer. So when we are in a different, like last time CMS organization. So that time we learn how to use TeamViewer in a LAN network also. Okay, actually it is um, internet related one. So through internet we are accessing, but within a LAN also, just using a basic application. But it is not a server control type. It is not like a pure server type, but it will be there. So web based server software. So it is giving different Zoom, Google Meet. It is giving normal one. Join me. These are all web based. Means server is maintained by the person who is providing the services. This Zoom and all server maintained by their organizations, their respective organizations. It's not like a application based, like we can install an application, but Redmin I used. So I have a little. I have to search for a new things to get some zero up to 100 registration per event. No credit card required. Started free. One organizer. Single track event. Social. 1 second. Okay. Yeah. So we are going to missing point. Okay. So now I'll just. Okay. So I'll separate these things, but little bit. But application wise also there. SharePoint, TeamViewer combined combinations also there. But SharePoint usually as a use for sharing your documents and all. But I didn't use SharePoint because latestly the SharePoint required a lot of size. You remember now? So I will try SharePoint and I will switch the new version. Okay, guys, this is a different type of servers based on operating system wise, application wise. Okay, so different application like so point is as you ask question like whether it is operating system wise, application wise, or service wise, whatever it is. we have to maintain means there is a central server within our hand, and the clients should access whether it is through LAN network means intra network or through internet, so they can able to access the services full control. Okay, web based things that we are using like a Google Meet, Zoom or all these things, so application we are not maintaining it. Okay, so that is they are maintaining. Application means server they are maintaining, we are accessing through client only, client to client meeting only. Okay, but okay, so this is operating system wise I think. What is hardware wise? Okay, up to now, so we understand, so there is a application or a operating system or something. Okay, so some software is there like a um, service wise, this is a server based on a service wise. What service? Based on the service we can understand what different type of servers are there. Lot of servers are there. I mentioned few names. This is operating system, like if you install operating system in a PC, if you install operating system in a PC, so that PC become that server. Like I install a 2019 server, I install a CentOS server, I install a Solaris server, I install a 2003, so 2003 server. Just based on what operating system you install in a PC, that become server. The first one. Second one. So based on application, if you install an application in a particular PC, so then it is automatically the application wise servers. Okay. For example, Oracle DB you install, Oracle 11G. I think like you install Oracle 11G, right? So if whenever you install a Oracle 11G, automatically it is Oracle 11G server. You can access from through network. You can access through direct PC, anywhere you can able to access with a LAN or based on the connections in a WAN connections. So whatever it is, so it is a central PC. Any user from within the network, so they can put a data. So using different applications, right? So it is a centralized one. Anybody put a data inside. Server means it's a centralized one. All other users can access the server. So that is a server. So different type of database servers, Oracle server, Microsoft SQL server, MySql server. So different servers are there. Mail servers like a Exchange, Microsoft Exchange. So we have to mention that one. Exchange server, IBM Domino server or Lotus nodes. It's a application based servers only. These are applications directly we will install. It won't comes with operating system. That's why I told. Zimbra servers comes under mail server. Exam, just for example only, I told exam servers. Model is a one of the server. There are a lot of servers also there in a server wise. Exam servers are there. I tried model, I think so. I didn't remember 3 years for. Okay. Mm. So model server is there. Lot of server. Pearson view. Okay. Promotic. Different type of exam servers. Now we are writing in exams in online. Um, Microsoft examinations we are writing in online, Cisco examinations we are writing in online, your gate examinations, gate exam we are writing in online, government related exams, bank related exams we are writing in online, right? So but we are not maintaining that application. The server is maintained by organization, or that software is maintained by organization. The client is accessed by client people only. Okay, so that is thing. Next one is like you written this AMCAT merit track examinations, right? So that is AMCAT server is there in by maintained by AMCAT people. We are accessing from it. Okay, so like this. And different meetings are, as you asked, either you maintain or organization wise maintaining, like that Zoom or Biztalk, Skype for business, SharePoint, like sharing information, sharing the screen, remote desktop, like kind of stuff. Okay, next last I will tell hardware wise. So what is a different hardware wise? So normally our PCs, our desktop PCs or laptop PCs, desktop or workstations. So our PCs, we call it as either desktop PCs or a workstation, but we are separating a name because lot of confusion is there here. For example, I'm using a laptop. What are you see on my desktop is a desktop. If I say like a desktop on your desktop means on the screen. Sir, no, no, no. I'm using laptop. Why you are calling a laptop? Why you are calling it as a desktop? This desktop means whatever the screen it is showing on your the front screen. Like all these things are a desktops only on my desktop only. So that is one we can understand as a desktop. Second, generally desktop means the people you are using, we are using a desktop only, right? Whether it is a laptop or a desktop. Okay, so we are having a two varieties we are using, either it is normal desktop or a laptop things we are using currently, right? But when IBM, that time IBM and Dell, so that time it is the desktop means it's like a PC with a monitor, that's it. There is a PC with a monitor on the desk, so that is why we call it as a desktop. So the common name is come desktop means regular people are using, like a desktop operating system, Windows 10, Windows 7, Windows 8, okay, Ubuntu desktop. You can see, go to website Ubuntu desktop. So desktop operating systems, desktop PCs means normal PC, any PC with a limited like normal user usage, not for a server purpose. Also, because of the desktop become more common and complex name nowadays, so what we call it as also workstation. So this is a workstation. CMD. Already I told a net share command, right? So net account accounts. You can see computer role is workstation. Computer role is workstation. For server, it shows server based on our operating system. Okay. So we are using in generally net accounts, guys. This is net accounts. Okay. So based on whatever it is, workstation and all, we are using a basic regular models only. For example, if you take Intel, okay, what is the use of this? I'm not telling about server now. So server I will tell. Normally, if you are taking Intel processors like P4 processor, maybe dual core, processors. Okay, maybe i3 processor, i5 processor, i7 processor. You have to take small i3 processor, i7 processor, maybe i9 processor. i9 is more powerful and very costly. Okay, so different processors are available: dual core, Pentium, Gold processor, Celeron processors. So different processors we use, and we has a limited RAMs. Like what is a limited RAM sizes we use? 2 GB, right? 4 GB, 8 GB RAMs, max to max 16 GB. Very rich people may use 32 GB. We should not say like that because I'm using 16, and maybe in future I will upgrade it to 32 GB also. I actually not required now. Okay. So because last year we done big practicals, now time is limited. So Intel, so limited RAM capacities. AMD type of processors also we are using here. Different AMD processors. Okay. AMD different processor like a Athlon. So I didn't know. So like a Ryzen, this is easy. Okay. So Ryzen 3 are a different processor. Ryzen 5. Okay. In that one also different models are there. Athlon is one of the processor. One second. uh, so I got it out. Athlon processor. Athlon processors. So these are this type of processors. Okay, limitation of RAM capacities, limitation of disk capacity. What is how much hard disk you use it? Okay, so you use maybe 512 GB or a 1 terabyte, 1 TB, or maybe 2 TB, maximum 4 TB, right? This is also a limited. Okay, so network NICs. How many NICs you are using? One for Wi-Fi if in case one Wi-Fi. So otherwise one Gbps, Ethernet kind of stuff. Okay, so ignore the caption small now. So whatever it is. So Wi-Fi 1 Gbps, one only it is there. 1 Mbps Ethernet. At 1 Gbps Ethernet means LAN connection. So not more than that one. Okay. Okay. How many sockets are there? One socket in a one system, right? So this is a limitation thing of a desktop. But what is a server hardware? If you go to the server hardware, different server hardwares are there. Okay, so for example, in a server hardware they use a Xeon processor. So Xeon processor means 8 or a 10 basic cores you'll get it. Okay, and Xeon processor means 12 MB minimum cache you will get it. Okay, 12 MB minimum cache you will get it. Okay, so if you say RAM, so RAM is also basically they use 32 GB higher RAMs only they use. So normally they use 64 GB RAM. Okay, or 128 GB RAM. Okay, so different RAM capacities they're using. Okay, disk capacities, hard disk also, not only just a hard disk. Okay, they use maybe hard disk, SSDs. Okay, different capacity, higher capacities. So I'm not telling the capacities now. So they're using hard disk, hard disk or sorry, SSDs, SCSI hard disk. Okay, SCSI hard disk means number of hard disk are there. We are using one or two number of hard disk. Okay, so number of hard disk also either it is one or 1 to 2 disks we use it in a system, right? So for example, I have a desktop. In my desktop I have a one SSD, one terabyte hard disk. In my laptop I have a 512 GB hard disk, normal SATA hard disk, and I have 1 terabyte extra hard disk. I added it, and external hard disk I'm using. But in a servers, different controllers, SCSI controllers and all, RAID controllers are there. These are requirements and onboard things. Multi sockets means one board having a multiple, motherboard having a multiple sockets for a processor sockets are there. Multi CPU sockets are there in a server hardware. Okay, so it's a little bit why, because server is a one server and everybody is sending a request to the server only. Okay, for example, this is a server, this is a server, and I have a lot of clients are there in the network. So what happened, everyone is sending a request to the server, right? So like this, everyone is sending request to the server. What happened, server need to handle all the request, and processor of the server, memory of the server, storage of the server must be high. So normal desktop not suitable for server operating system, so it cannot handle. Okay, NICs. So multiple NICs are there. 1 Gbps, normal NICs, and as well as some of the servers having a five fiber optical channels also. OFC, I will optical fiber channel connections also. FC connections also there. Okay, okay. FC or OFC. Normal NICs like Ethernet, 1 Gbps Ethernet also there. Some of they are having a fiber optical connections also there. Based on the server's seriousness of server, we have to add the things. Okay, like this. Cooling system. Cooling system is very high. AC has to maintain like that. We have to power supply must be high. Normally, I have a desktop and I had a highest power supply. Okay, what is my power supply I use? 650 VA. Okay. Purchase 650 VA, so I put a more money on it. So 450 is enough, but I put a 550 power supply for my desktop. SMPS, SMPS, SMPS. But here is a SMPS is maybe required a 1 kV, 1 kilowatts, 1 kVA we have to tell. Okay, so power supply can be 1 kV, 2 kV, 3 kV. So higher power supply we should use it. So this is my I want to tell, like a normal desktop has a limited. What is a desktop used by a user? What is our use? Maybe running the application. Understand? Desktop purpose is running an application, accessing internet, playing games, working with the software, build a software, like that, right? So this is okay, application oriented or building an application like normal user, normal purposes only we are using a desktop. Server purpose is providing a different kind of services from the server, right? Multiple users are there, multiple users connected to server from remote from different PCs. They are sending a request or working with it one, so different kind of works are there, like maybe a web server is providing web services, mail request, or maybe print request, or maybe database related request, or maybe file access request. Okay, so different kind of requests. So server hardware should be able to handle that much of processing related things. So that's why it should be higher. Of course, you can search for a AMD also. AMD processors for servers, and also you can search for what is Intel Xeon processor also. Search it, you will understand. Next, I will tell hardware wise type of servers. Hardware wise. Okay, so here it is tower server. Tower server means normal, you have a desktop servers are there, no? So you already seen desktop server, like okay. So I'm going to image. So tower server is nothing but normally how your desktop is look like, that one only. It is, you can see someone is giving this. Okay, so these are desktop servers. Okay, not a desktops, it is tower. You can see it's look like a desktop size only, but it is high towers. They use high towers, and each tower having a big motherboard sizes. You can see the size of this one. Okay, so we'll go to the magnifier then. Okay, so like you can see two smps are there, backside connections and all. Okay, this is a front side connection, like this. Okay, you can go to Lenovo base. This is a one type of tower server is showing here. See, this is a storage space. You can open it, you can insert the disk also. Okay, these are all different servers, tower type servers only. Okay, it is look like a desktop server only, but it is the internally they have a lot of room for a big motherboards connections and all. Okay, so this is a tower server. Normal look like a desktop model only, but it is our servers, mini towers. For our desktop we use mini towers or a mid towers, but in servers they use high towers. High towers means big in the size, big in the size of the desktop. That cabinet is there, no, desktop cabinets, what we call it as CPU cabinets, right? That cabinet size is bigger because bigger motherboard, lot of hard disk facilities, SCSI connections, your NIC connections are more. So like that. So okay, so that is there. Next one is rack server. Next one is rack server or rack mount server. Rack server or a rack mount server. Hmm. Next one is rack. What is this rack servers? This is a rack. So you can see here it is a rack. It is a single rack only. So in a full books rack. If you see, if you not having an idea of this one, no problem. But book racks is there, no? So like library racks are there. Inside you put a books, right? So it's a book full frame is there. Just each rack will go with one server. Each rack has a one server. So that's the cost 2,29,000 for this rack. So this is 3 lakhs. This is a less cost. Okay, like so. This is a blade versus kind of stuff. This is a rack. You have to insert a rack like this, guys. See this rack. So he's pull out the rack from rack mount. So like this. This is a rack. Complete set. Okay. So you have to insert the racks into that one. Rack means one server. Okay. The rack contains the rack. This is one rack. Okay. So this is a one rack server. The rack server contains complete set of your server thing, like a processor, RAM, and everything is there. Like this is a one rack, as I said. So this rack internally contains processor, RAM, SSD, network connections, power supply connections. Everything is there in this rack only, and we can add things to like this. Just we have to insert the racks into this frame, the rack frame. Okay, that is called a rack server. Next one is blade server. Okay, but it is a just hardware part only. It won't do anything. Okay, so we'll go to rack server versus blade server is like this is there. So you can see this guy inserting a blade into a rack means one rack. This is a big rack, right? In a one rack you can insert multiple blades. The blade means nothing but a server. Blade means nothing but a server. Okay, this is a rack and this is a blade. This is a blade. What is a blade means? The blade contains processor. So this is like this. This is a one rack server. This side can see. Oh, I clicked on it. No problem. This side, this is a one single one. Is there no small like a vertical? No. What is it? Horizontal one? Okay, the second one is a blade, one single blade. This is a sorry, not blade, not blade. Mind. Okay, what it is? My mind is not cooperating with me suddenly. Rack. This is a one rack. The rack means one entire rack occupied with one server. Rack server, entire rack occupied with one server. This is blade means one rack contains multiple blades. Each blade is a server. It means one rack contains multiple servers. So very simple. Given some kind of information is in this one. Okay, like this optico.com kind of stuff. You can search in a Google. Lot of websites are there. Why we should I share? Okay, so like this, the blade will directly put a blade. Okay, so each one is a blade. The blade is nothing but a server. This is a blade servers like this. See, this is one rack, completely a one set of rack. It is okay. This is entire. We go to one rack, but each rack having a multiple blades. We can remove the blades directly from the rack. Okay, like this, and we can insert it. So what is this complete set? The complete set with the blade server, storages and everything is nothing but a data center. Okay, this is a blade. The blade is nothing but blade itself is server. Server means in the form of hardware. We have to tell blade server means it contains processor, RAM, storage, and NICs, and we have a fiber optical connections, power supply connections on it. So based on hardware. So when you said this is a blade server, it's a blade server. That's it. That we don't do anything until unless you are install a operating system and install a services inside. So hardware wise, like when you say it is tower server, a rack server, or a blade server means compared to your normal desktop, the hardware servers, this is specifically designed for server operating system purpose. Okay, different server operating systems are there. I given only a few virtualization related. So many other operating systems are there, like a Proximox, VMware, vSphere. Okay, like this hypervisors. So don't get confused, guys. So where is this? So already I told. So what makes a thing as a server? Why we call that one as a server? Based on operating system installation, or maybe based on application installed into that PC, or a PC itself based on its hardware or a type of hardware it is. Okay, so different type of hardware servers are there. Tower server is like our desktop, look like our desktop, but little bit big in size because the capacity is huge. Rack servers, it is having a like a book racks. Each rack in the total frame in each rack, so there is a server. So the rack itself, it is a server. Okay, it contains all server means hardware. Okay, blade in a rack they split into multiple blades. Okay, so we can insert a multiple blades in a single rack. So then more space we can, so with the same space we are putting more servers inside. Okay, what is the difference between these type of servers? Tower server, first of all, if you need a more tower servers, like I need more servers. If you are going with the tower servers, then more space will occupy. Understand? I need more tower server. Sorry, I need a more servers. Then I purchasing tower servers. Then what happen? More space, more wiring. All wiring will be exposed to place. Difficult to maintain the tower server if number of servers are increases. Next, power supply, central controlization is difficult in a tower server if number of servers are increased. My organization is very limited, very small organization. So I will go with one or two servers, means tower servers. I need more servers, like 4 5 servers are required for my organization. Choose rack server because it's a single rack, complete one single frame box. You can insert a racks inside of the thing. Okay, so then configure each one and put a monitor. Next, blade server. My organization is very big. I need a more servers. Requirement is high. More storage required. More maintenance and servers are more. Requirement is there. More clients are there. So then what happened? Better to choose the blade server because with a limited within a size. then we can insert a multiple blades inside and also do it. Okay, so that that is about your differences. Okay, I have a multiple servers and avm avm. Okay, if I have a multiple servers, it's very difficult to connect keyboard, mouse, and monitor for each and every server. For tower server, okay, it is a one unit is look like one unit, but rack server, in one single unit we have a multiple racks. At least four racks are there, four servers are there. So how to put a keyboard, mouse, and video for each and every server? So we don't use it. We use a KVM switch. When you say KVM, always type KVM switch. So it is a switch connected to the server's keyboard, mouse, and as well as video connected to the switch. And this switch is connected to single keyboard, single keyboard, and video means monitor and a mouse and a mouse. So they use a KVM switch for connecting multiple servers into single keyboard, video, mouse. So that is a switch is useful. Otherwise, you can search in a Google what is KVM switch, you will understand. So guys, this is based on services, and this is the based on operating system. Okay. So I took a lot of time, almost like a 1.5 hour, and that too in record. Guys, I hope you are understand. If you not understand, also it's okay. Go through the naming. I explained a lot. Okay. There is a two statements only I told, but we have to go through two more things. That is okay. Work group, domain. Okay. Next, what difference between domain and work group? Okay. So what is the difference between domain and work group? These are an important question. What is peer to peer, server to client? What is work group? What is domain? And what is domain and work group differences? So these 2 points are important. So also we'll go through this thing. Okay, and also I will tell one more part here. Okay, so what is Windows Server? So when it is comes to Microsoft Windows Server on premises, is a on premises server. How to define a server so easily with 5 names? How to do it? So I will show you that one. Okay, so now I will stop here because I want to go for this thing after a little bit break. 10 minutes break is enough.